Hello friends, Tom Downey here to take you through the Dallas Cowboys preseason profile, and we start with the additions by the Dallas Cowboys. Now, not a whole lot of money available in free agency for them, but they were able to add a Cam Fleming to help out as the swing tackle. Allen Hurns was the big money guy to help replace Dez Bryant, who we'll get to. And then Tavon Austin and Jihad Ward come over in trades, and they could play big roles for the Cowboys early. The draft was the main source of addition. Leighton Vander Esch comes in, Connor Williams, and Michael Gallup as well, could all play immediately for the Cowboys. But the losses were bigger than the additions this year in terms of name recognition. Anthony Hitchens got paid big time by the Chiefs. Dez Bryant is now a free agent, still unsigned, at least as of this filming. Jason Witten, well, he retired and the Cowboys were not prepared for that one. Overall, I give the Cowboys offseason a C+. It wasn't a disaster, but it really wasn't all that good either. Now, some will argue Dez and Witten were addition by subtractions. I don't really believe in that, and on paper, there are some years where the Cowboys did get worse. As for their preseason schedule, well, they go to the Niners in Week 1, Bengals in Week 2, Cardinals Week 3, Texans in Week 4. The big game, of course, as it almost always is the Arizona Cardinals in Week 3. That is your dress rehearsal game. Two things I'm monitoring, one on each side of the ball. One, what's the chemistry like for Dak and his new look wide receiver core? And two, who gets the playing time in a young and talented secondary? As for training camp, which is rapidly approaching for the Dallas Cowboys, a couple key storylines that I'm watching for. Who is going to replace Jason Witten? That's the number one for me. The Cowboys tight end group, frankly, is one of the worst one in the NFL, if not the worst tight end group in the NFL. Jeff Swain, Blake Jarwin, Dalton Schultz, and Rico Gathers. Will throw in David Wells as well. Those five guys have combined for 9 career regular season catches. Swain is a block-first guy. The staff likes Blake Jarwin. They drafted Dalton Schultz in round 4. Everyone loves Rico, but Rico is 4th right now on the tight end depth chart. He might not even make the roster this year. Sticking on offense here, the number 1 wide receiver, or lack thereof, is a big question mark for the Cowboys. Dez Bryant is gone, and yes, he wasn't the same Dez Bryant he was in his prime, but look at who the Cowboys have at receiver right now. This is the definition of a wide receiver by committee approach. Allen Hurns, Michael Gallup, Cole Beasley, and Terrence Williams are your top 4 guys in some order. We'll throw Tavon Austin in there as a backup. He's going to be a wide receiver halfback hybrid, think Lance Dunbar type. Deontay Thompson can bring some speed, but there's a big question mark as to who actually emerges as the Cowboys' top receiver this year. So I want to know from you guys, who should be the Cowboys' top receiver this year? Is it Gallup, Hurns, or Beasley? I'll put my money on Beasley in terms of receptions. I don't think it'll be TDs for Cole. Maybe not yards, but I think Dak will lean heavily on Cole, the receiver he has the most chemistry and familiarity with from his time with the Cowboys. And of course, I guess on defense here, the one thing everyone keeps talking about if you're a Cowboys fan is Earl Thomas coming or what? I think maybe now more so than ever, the possibility is kind of getting closer to being likely. Thomas came out and said recently he wants an extension or a trade. Now, Seattle can put that to bed real fast by paying him $13+ million a year, but they haven't done that yet. And while it's still up to Seattle to make the next move, the Cowboys are sitting there waiting and lurking just in case a deal can't get done with Earl Thomas and the Seahawks. If that's the case, we know he's a Seahawks fan or a Cowboys fan. We know he wants to play for the Cowboys. It's certainly a possibility, and until Thomas signs a big long-term extension, I don't think this storyline is going away anytime soon. The deeper we get into training camp, the less likely it does become. But the Earl Thomas of the Cowboys storyline will not go away until ET is either a Cowboy or gets paid a big fat new contract by the Seahawks or somebody else. As for the 2018 schedule, look, the Cowboys should be a good football team again this year. The problem is they play in the NFC, and you can see the schedule right there. The Panthers, at the Texans, Jacksonville, Titans, there are some playoff teams right there. You would assume the Giants and Lions are also borderline playoff teams again this year, although the Giants were more so 2016 and 2017. And then the second half of the schedule, you have the Eagles, a road game at Atlanta. That's a brutal back-to-back game stretch there. Redskins, Saints, and Eagles, those are at least 4 likely or at least borderline playoff teams there. A bit of a break in weeks 15 through 17. But this is the big problem for me with the Dallas Cowboys. This schedule is tough, and I think that is reflected in the Cowboys Super Bowl odds as well. Plus 3,300, that's kind of middle of the pack. Now, I think they'll finish second in the NFC East behind the Eagles and ahead of the Redskins and the Giants. But I think there's a real question mark as to, even if the Cowboys finish second in the NFC East, is that enough to actually make the playoffs? In a stacked NFC, Dallas can win 9 or 10 games and still come up short in their playoff push. And my fear is that's what's going to happen to the Cowboys this year. So, folks, I want to know from you, where will the Cowboys finish in the NFC East this year? Is it first, second, third, or fourth? Let me know in the comments section. And if you're a Cowboys fan, I am the host of the Cowboys Report here on Chat Sports, so follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney for more Cowboys coverage.